Hello, everyone, and welcome to the January 2022 Arts and Culture meeting. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Vyar,
Here.
Vidor,
Here.
Zadorian,
Here.
Vice Chair Yank,
Here.
Chairperson Tufenkian.
Here.
Agenda item 1A, report of the recorder reposting the agenda. The agenda for the January 2022 regular meeting was posted on January 13th, 2022 on the bulletin board outside of City Hall. Agenda item 2A, minutes of the November 18th, 2021 regular meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission.
Do we have any additions, corrections to the agenda? Anyone? Okay, looks like it's all good. Do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve the minutes as provided.
And I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call. Commissioners Vyar,
Yes.
Vidor,
Yes.
Zadorian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Yank,
Yes.
Chairperson Tufenkian.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 3A, introductions and presentations. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our Coro Fellow, Christina Riss-Chambers. They are joining us for the government placement of the Coro Southern California program. And I'd like to introduce Riss. Riss, take it away.
Hi, I'm Riss. I'm part of the Coro program. I know that you have had a Coro Fellow before. I am here to help wrap up the work that they were doing and help Jennifer in preparing what they have been working on and preparing for a future meeting in which we get feedback from the community. I'm really excited. I have the goals of taking what I learned from Coro and going back to my home area of San Bernardino and trying to kind of bring a little bit of what you guys are doing to Glendale, to that city, because it needs some art as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Riss. We're so excited to be working with you. Thank you. I'm going to move on to agenda item 3B, Library Arts and Culture Events Report. Let me pull up my screen. Okay, first up now on exhibit through February 26, 2022 at the Adams Company Park gas station is Black Souls by artist Marshall Yapo, which is a tribute to the Africans who lost their lives on American soil alone and far away from their land. The African masks serve as an important role in rituals and ceremonies and represent the spirits of deceased ancestors. The masks are made of recycled gas cans, which are lined up on wood bars. Mr. Yapo was also interviewed as part of the Be the Change IDEA series, and his interview will be released in February 2022 in conjunction with Black History Month. For more information, please see the link on the screen. The Reflect Space Gallery at Central Library is proud to present Human Like You, Confronting the Homelessness Crisis, an exhibition that sheds light on the ever-burgeoning homeless epidemic. Los Angeles County is home to a staggering 64,000 unhoused people, and this number is growing. Human Like You provides a glimpse into the lives of those affected by job loss and mental illness, substance abuse, tragedy, and domestic violence, and implores the viewer to empathize and contemplate a solution to this crisis. Human Like You, Confronting the Homelessness Crisis will be on view beginning January 20th through March 4th, 2022, and is open to the public during regular library hours. For more information, please see the link on the screen. Brand Library and Art Center presents Let Me Talk, a provocative exhibition featuring paintings, sculptures, installation, and photography by a diverse group of 24 artists. This exhibit, curated by Ada Pulini Brown and Jill Sykes, will be at the Brand Library and Art Center from January 22nd to March 19th, 2022. Let Me Talk includes a special edition portfolio of 52 new prints, Utopia Dystopia, produced at the famed East Los Angeles printmaking workshop, Self-Help Graphics, and curated by Mio Stevens Gandara. For more information, please see the link on the screen. And all Glendale Library locations are now open, and starting January 23rd, 2022, Glendale Central Library will be open on Sundays from 1 to 6 p.m. For more information, please see the link on the screen. And that is the library report. I will move on to agenda item 4, which is oral communications. Let me just briefly check. It appears as though we do not have any. So, Chairperson Tufenkian, may I move on to agenda item 5A?
Yes.
Agenda item 5A, selection of a chairperson to serve a one-year term beginning January 2022.
If I may, I would like to nominate Vice Chair Yang for the chairwoman position.
I second that. Are we seconding?
I think, do we have any other nominations? And if not, then we can do roll call.
Any other nominations? Okay,
Okay.
I think we're good to go.
Shall I do roll call? Commissioners Vyar,
Yes.
Vidor,
Yes,
Zadorian,
Yes.
Tufenkian,
Yes.
and Chairperson Yank.
Thank you. Yes, I'm really honored. Thank you all for your confidence, and I'm excited for my role as chairperson in the year ahead, especially as we have so many exciting things going on with the commission, with the public art projects and the work with the Aspire group. So thank you. I appreciate the nomination.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I will move on to agenda item 5B, which is selection of a vice chairperson to serve a one-year term beginning January 2022.
I would like to make a nomination. I would like to nominate Jane Vyar as vice chair of the commission.
Okay, if there are no other nominations, any other nominations? Okay, I think we can vote on that.
Second.
Roll call, Commissioners Vidor.
Did you get a second?
I don't believe we need a second. We just need a roll call.
Oh,
Okay.
So Commissioners Vidor,
yes.
Tufenkian,
Yes.
Zadorian,
Yes.
Chairperson Yank,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Vyar.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Director Gary Schaefer, I want to congratulate both and appreciate you taking on these roles. Normally, if we were in the chambers, literally, Chairperson Tufenkian would change seats with Chairperson Yank at this time. And so at this point, I guess we're handing the virtual gavel off to Chairperson Yank to continue on with the rest of the meeting. And I would like to take a moment to thank outgoing Chairperson Tufenkian for, guiding us through this very interesting year. It was not easy, and she handled it with grace and aplomb. So it is very much appreciated, your service. So just want to say that and wish the commission well. And it's next year you all are working on such exciting and great projects. So with that, I'll go back to my place in the virtual holding room. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Schaefer. It has been an honor and a great opportunity to serve as chairwoman of the Arts and Culture Commission and work along this amazing commission, and definitely could not do any of this without your and Jennifer's assistance and help, because you guys do 10 people's work for us, and so everything goes seamless. So thank you, everyone, and good luck to Chairperson Yang and Vice Chair Vyar.
Thank you, ex-chairperson Tufenkian.
Thank you. Chairperson Yank, may I move on to the next agenda item?
Yes.
Okay. Agenda item 5C, Storefront Art Program. Motion approving the funding of a storefront art program to produce temporary art exhibits in a retail storefront unit from January to December 2022, an amount not to exceed $40,000 from the 2021-2022 work plan. This is in regards to, just to provide some background context, we on the May 20th, 2021 Arts and Culture Commission meeting, the commission approved the consultancy of a program consultant to help liaise through this pilot program, which will be located at 250 North Orange Street. In July of 2021, staff began working with the program consultant, Loretto Lopez, who was a former Claremont graduate apprentice who worked with us and has done phenomenal work in launching this pilot program. And in August, September of last year, Loretto began working with several artists to launch the program. And then in December of last year, she had the official launch opening reception of the program. And right now I'd like to introduce Loretto, who's going to provide a quick overview of the program and launch and recommendations for next steps. Loretto?
Thank you. Hi, as Jennifer said, I'm Loretto. Today I will just be providing for you, like Jennifer mentioned, an overview of how the launch went for Art on Orange, and along with our recommendations for next steps for this program moving forward. So I'll now share my screen. Okay, great. So as a reminder, we had an installation take place on 250 North Orange Street, which is a space that was identified by Community and Economic Development. We invited 3 local artists to install here who have all worked with the city before, who are Kathy Herenda, Jennifer Swain, and Diane Williams. We asked them to create an installation under the theme of resiliency, and we launched our opening reception on Friday, December 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. We also invited musician Mark DeClive-Lowe to perform during this time and offered refreshments and desserts from a local bakery across the street on brand called Maggie's Pastries. We had GTV6 document the opening reception along with portions of the installation and hired a photographer to take photos of the opening night. Throughout the night, we had an estimate of 50 attendees. And since then, we've had press releases published in Crescenta Valley Weekly and Glendale News Press. The approved budget for this pilot program was $25,000, but our budget now is $13,000. And I just want to show you all some images the photographer took for us. Right here on this slide is an image of Diane Williams' installation titled Beaming in the Shadows. Right here on the left is Jennifer Swain's installation titled Resiliency. And on the photo on the right, the octopus there on the right is part of her installation as well. And to the left is all of Diane's. And here are images of Kathy Herenda's installation titled We Are All in the Same Boat. And these are just a few images of when the space was open to the public. We have an image of Mark performing in front of an audience, and you can see that visitors are viewing and enjoying the space from inside and outside. And now I want to show you all the video that GTV6 produced for us about the program.
The mission of the Glendale Arts and Culture Commission is to enhance the human experience, to reinforce Glendale's identity and the civic pride through arts and culture, and to recognize the importance of arts in our daily lives and the local community.
With this program, we hope for it to expand and become a year-round program in partnership with business owners, property owners, and realtors, so we can occupy vacant spaces with art and hopefully beautify the Glendale community further.
I do art made out of trash, which for me is about transformation. The theme of this installation is resiliency, and I think that has a lot to do with bouncing back after COVID and the years we've had. So I think it's really a way to revitalize something that's been blighted by just the financial hardship through.
My octopus
octopus named Bob, and he is pretty much a survivor of the ocean and all of the pollutions that are in the ocean. And so this is a process is just to display for the ocean creatures that cannot express all of their troubles and them being resilient in the sea. I chose to recreate this idea of the parol in my Filipino culture, which is actually a festive and a celebrated object in the Philippines. It's also a symbol of joy and hope. I wanted to evoke this kind of community in that way, sort of weaving through the narratives and the stories of my community.
Goes to show how needed something like this is in the city. Just different spaces where local artists can come together and showcase their work. The art has been very impactful, and I think a lot of the people who are coming by are also getting something out of it as well. And I think it's a good utilization of the space here.
I love how they use this space that used to be empty before and put something in to invite the community to showcase the artistic talents of these individuals here and the musician who is fantastic. And I think that the message as well for people that come here about conserving the earth, conserving our resources, this one place I call home, is really important for us to take in, accept, and take action.
Okay, great. So due to the success of the program and how widely it was received, we've decided to extend our initial 6-week installation period until the end of March. So we now have a new closing reception date of Saturday, March 26th from 7 to 9 p.m. We also have weekly gallery hours that were briefly put on pause, but they'll be resuming again next week on January 26th. And they'll be taking place on Wednesdays and Thursdays from 2 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. And now moving on to our recommendations for this program in 2022. We would like to organize 2 cycles for this year. And we would launch 2 of them at 250 North Orange Street. Granted, we still have access to this space. And with these 2 cycles, we would have at most 3 artists per cycle installing here. Our goal is to expand to 2 more locations outside of North Orange Street, which would be in partnership with property owners. And when we extend to these 2 locations, we plan on pairing 1 artist with 1 property owner. We would also like to create a Storefront art program call for artists application to extend this opportunity to any interested artists. And we would have the application open year-round and review applications once per year, thereby allowing us to organize exhibitions for the whole year. The participating artists that we select will be on what we call a pre-qualified list for when this program expands to realtors and property owners. And this will help us create a matchmaking process of selecting artists that we feel would be a good fit for a property owner and vice versa. So our current participating artists, Kathy, Jen, and Diane, would be included on this list. When the program expands to property owners and realtors, I would be serving as an intermediary and providing recommendations such as in terms of installation schedules, restrictions, the duration of the exhibit, and how closing and opening receptions can be handled. Well, all of that will be dealt on their end, but I will be in charge of all the back end work, such as like providing stipends and marketing and advertising for the program. And while the current installation is up and we're working on creating the call for artists application, we would also be reaching out to economic development and property owners to help us establish relationships and get participants for this program moving forward. The timeline that I envision for this happening is that beginning the end of this month or in February, we'd start outreach to economic development and property owners. In March, we would open the call for artists application, have that open for about 6 weeks, leading us to host a artist review and selection committee in mid-May. In June, we would present the selected artists for approval to all of you. And in late June, we would be meeting with them and conducting site visits of all the participating locations. So by late July, we envision them installing their work, leading us to have an opening reception beginning of August and having their installation up for a minimum of 6 weeks. Now, for the budget for this program is a little similar to the pilot budget, but we have increased amounts due to the expansion of the program. We have costs for cleaning and marketing, along with stipends for the artists and the artist production budget and the opening and closing receptions. And this gives us a total of $16,000 for one cycle. When we double that for the 2 cycles that would be occurring this year, it gives us a total of $32,000. Now, when we expand this program to our 2 other participating locations, we would be providing a stipend for the 2 property owners of $500 each per recommendation of economic development, along with the 2 participating artist stipends and their budget, and artwork insurance in case these 2 parties feel that this is needed. So that gives us a total of $40,000 for the Storefront Art Program in 2022. And if there are any questions or clarifications, I'd be happy to address them right now.
Thank you, Loretto, for that presentation. Very thorough. I'll start with my fellow commissioners who would like to make comments. Let's start with Arlene, Commissioner Vidor.
Thank you very much, Loretto. That was really great. And I went to the opening reception on Orange the first time, and it was really wonderful and magical. And I felt like Glendale really turned a corner with this. I'm literally and figuratively. So congratulations and best of success and smooth sailing on rolling out the program in 2022. So I have just a couple questions. The photos, I know you have a professional photographer and I'm not assuming that, was that in the budget or was that a special thing for this one? And then my question is, where are the photos located or posted?
Yeah, the photos, they were included in the budget, and the photos are located. He sent me a link of all the ones that he took that night. If you're interested in viewing them, I'm happy to share that link with you. I know there are some that he took of you and other members, which were fun to see, but yes, the cost was included in the budget.
Okay. Is there any reason, I know we were on private property where the event took place, so there's an issue with publishing photos of individual people, but is there any reason why the photos can't be shared on a public platform, or do they have to be, by request?
Mm-hmm.
I believe they can be shared. Thank you, Commissioner Vidor. That's a great question. I believe they can be shared. It's more of a capacity issue at this point. We haven't had the opportunity to be able to launch those on the website and the social media, but definitely do that.
Instagram. And then Instagram would be a great place. And then there was actually, I think some of you are familiar with the Wolf Pack, otherwise known as the Arts Coalition of Glendale, which is a very loose and formal group of which I represent the commission on that group, but it's mostly people in the arts. And the group created a hashtag, Arts in Glendale, which I think I sent to Jennifer with a view to like everything related to the arts in Glendale, no matter what it is, public or private, going on there, so that the hashtag would build up some steam. So certainly feel free to use that as well, to post any pictures you like. The other question I had was, in terms of the work going in, the installations themselves, curation, like, you know, the placement, how things are arranged, is that something you are doing, Loretto? How does that work? Because that seems to be like, you know, it might be an important aspect of, you know, of the presentation.
Yes, that was something that we organized. It was, well, when the program expands, we'll be able to have a little bit more liberty of, you know, we'll have more artists, we'll have more locations. So we'll be able to, I guess, explore that creatively a little bit more. But yes, that was something that we organized this time around.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Right, Chairperson, or sorry, Commissioner Zadoria, any comments?
No comments. I think it looks great. I'm looking at the budget. Honestly, everything looks great. I'm just happy with the timeline because this is going to be starting basically this month, and by the summertime we'll have art installations. So that looks great. Thank you so much, Loretta.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Tufenkia, questions or comments?
I think you're on mute.
Carolyn, I don't think we can hear you.
Okay, start over. Thank you, Loretto. This is very exciting, and it's nice to see more art coming to Glendale. I have a couple of questions regarding the budget. First of all, I wanted to see, is the 40K, was that already allocated in our budget, or is this an addition? So we're asking for additional funds?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The 40K, the budget, was it in our budget already, or are we asking for additional funds?
Would you like me to answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So thank you, Commissioner Tufenkia. That's a great question. So the commission originally approved, I believe in, what was it, September of last year, a budget of $25,000 to launch this specific program that Loretto just launched. Thanks to her, you know, fiscal conservatorship, she, you know, came in grossly under budget at $13,000. So the proposal for the $40,000 is an additional allocation that was not included in the original work plan budget, but we can definitely accommodate that due to the spending that we've had thus far this year.
Okay, thank you. And then also there's artist stipends on what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on line item 6, and then and at the bottom there's also a stipend for 2 additional artists. What are the 2? What is that one for?
Yeah, so the top portion is, say, a budget for if we still have 250 North Orange Street to launch this program again. That's the budget for the 3 artists that may be installing there. So just to kind of keep it separate from, you know, one location to another, just the top portion is the budget for a location at 250 North Orange Street. And then when we expand the location to 2 more, we have the budget added for 2 more artists who would be participating.
Got it. And so it looks like each artist would be getting about 2,500. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Vice Chair Baya?
No questions, but thank you, Loreto, very much for the presentation and for the, I really enjoyed the shots too of the installations, and thank you for your fiscal responsibility as well, which will then allow for more art to move in. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and for me, I was just to clarify, I guess to Jennifer, you're in the process of securing a marketing consultant, is that right? Just to the question before about kind of proliferating the documentation on social media.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson Yank. That's a great question. One of the next steps in my scope of work is to establish and draft a RFP for a PR firm, and the goal is to release that as soon as possible. Again, just my scope of work has expanded in the last month or so, so that has taken a back seat, but that is next on my list, is to establish that draft.
Okay. And then another question is, I was just a little confused about the 2 cycles per year. So from the timeline that you had showed before, it just seems like it would be tight to try to fit in 2 full cycles, considering that the next, that the opening reception for the first cycle would be in August. So I'm just curious maybe I'm just misreading that timeline, but can you clarify?
Sure. Well, so we have, it's a little bit extended, granted that we're essentially beginning a new process of creating an application and trying to, reach out to a little more locations. So it made a little bit of sense to me to kind of extend that period starting in beginning of August. We do have the installations planned for a minimum of 6 weeks, and this is what we have drafted when we approach to property owners. So that gives us a next installation probably in October or November. So it may seem a little tight, but I feel that it is very doable. And, I'm optimistic about the process.
And thank you, Chairperson Yang, for pointing that out. As you can imagine, it is a feat to launch such a program. And with Loreto as a part-time consultant, it would be difficult. So we acknowledge that. We are very ambitious and hopeful, as Loreto had mentioned, that we can get 2 cycles up before the end of the year, in addition to potentially partnering with 2 alternate locations as well. So we're hopeful. It's an ambitious project, but we're very hopeful that it can be launched in the timeline that we've proposed.
Okay, yeah, I'll trust you there. I just think it just seems that it might be a lot to do 2 full cycles and try to expand. But that's kind of up to you guys about what you think your capacity looks like. The other question I just had on the budget was for the expansion to the 2 additional properties. I don't see anything in there for receptions for those. So I'm curious if, you're looking for properties that are going to be adjacent that would have they would share the same opening reception and closing reception, or if that money would have to be stretched into those additional properties.
We're not necessarily looking for ones that are adjacent. I mean, that would be great and it would be ideal, but it all depends on who's willing to participate and where we have available space. I mentioned earlier that we're planning on letting the property owner and artist kind of take ownership on how they want to handle the opening and closing receptions. Granted, it's their space. So we're planning to let all of that happen on their end. And, I think if we need to extend portions in the budget, allocate different areas elsewhere, I feel like it's feasible. But yeah, that's kind of what we have planned right now.
Just to add on to Loretto's comments, I think the intention is to have the property owner and really the property owner take the lead on what they envision the launch would look like. It's, as you can imagine, it would be a whole nother slate of work for Loretto to continually launch opening and closing receptions for storefront units all throughout the city. The 250 North Orange Street is a unique situation in that economic development manages that space. So we kind of, as we mentioned, have control over what we can manage and do in that space. But the intention is to, again, to the workload, make it manageable so that Loretto can do multiple sites, but really have the property owner take the lead on how they envision the launch would be.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. I mean, I think my only caution would just be to, I think this budget looks good, but just to think about that timeline in terms of if 2 cycles and the expansion to additional properties is really going to be feasible in 1 year.
Absolutely, and we thank you for that comment. And if there are any updates to the budget, of course, we'll make sure to keep the commission apprised of staff capacity and only being able to launch 1 cycle versus 2, but we'll make sure to keep the commission apprised of that progress.
Okay. If any other questions or comments that were raised from anybody? In that case, would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the funding of a storefront art program to produce temporary art exhibits in a retail storefront unit from January to December 2022 in an amount not to exceed $40,000 from the 2021-2022 month work plan.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll do roll call. Commissioners Tufenkian?
Yes.
Vidor?
Yes.
Zadorian?
Yes.
Vice Chair Vyar?
Yes.
Chairperson Yank?
Yes.
Thank you. I will move on to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 5D, Storefront Art Program Temporary Program Consultant. Motion approving the funding of a temporary program consultant from January to June 2022 to 1, work with city staff to develop processes and procedures for a storefront art program, and 2, liaise with artists to produce temporary art exhibits in retail storefront units in an amount not to exceed $13,000 from the 2021-2022 work plan. This is, as we just mentioned, in regards to the storefront art program, which the commission has just approved. This would basically be hiring a program consultant, Loretto, who will be continuing the launch of this version of the program for the next 6 months at least to establish the launch of the program.
Okay, I'll just go through to see if anybody has any questions or comments. Commissioner Vyar, or Vidor, sorry. Commissioner Vidor, any questions or comments on this item?
No, no comments.
Okay, Commissioner Sidori?
I'm sorry, could you just clarify? So the consultant is Loretto?
Correct.
Okay.
Loretto, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, Loretto has been hired as a program consultant thus far to launch the 250 North Orange Street. And so we would propose hiring her as a consultant to continue to the launch of the second version of the program.
Okay. And where is the 13,000 from? Like, how did you guys come up with that?
That was what was originally approved when we were discussing the launch of the program, I believe in May of 2021. We proposed working with a program consultant to launch the program. So that's that original amount for 6 months. That was July to December of 2021. So basically an additional 6 months to work with a consultant.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Tufenkian
No further questions. Thank you.
and Vice Chair Bayar.
I was just wondering, Jennifer, how many hours does Loretto have to put into the project for the 13,000? You're muted.
Sorry, I'm going in and out, so I forget to click the button. Loretto has been working on average 18 to 20 hours a week. So it's basically a part-time basis that she's focusing on this program.
Okay, thanks. Just curious. Thank you.
My only question is, this is just from January through June, but the timeline goes through August. Does it make sense to approve her for the amount that is in the timeline proposed, or will we be coming up against that in a future meeting?
Well, we will be discussing the new work plan for 2022-2023 because we've changed our work plan to go with the fiscal year. So this is why we're proposing the January to June so that we can consider options for the new work plan.
I see. So we'll just have to keep that in mind as we talk about the new work plan, that this is probably going to continue for a few more months beyond this time frame.
Correct.
Sense. Okay. If there's no further comments or questions, would somebody like to make a motion on this one?
I can make the motion to approve the funding of a temporary program consultant from January to June 2022 to, one, work with city staff to develop the processes and procedures for a storefront art program, and two, to be a liaison with artists to produce temporary art exhibits in a retail storefront unit in an amount not to exceed $13,000 from the 2021-2022 month work plan.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, Commissioners Tufenkian,
Yes.
Vidor,
Yes.
Zadorian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bayar,
Yes.
Chairperson Yink.
Yes.
Thank you. And I want to just again acknowledge the phenomenal work that Loretto has done thus far. She's been really fantastic to work with and just jumped right in to launching this program. So we're very excited and thankful that the Commission has approved funding to continue her consultancy. So thank you. I'll move on to agenda item 5E, Claremont Graduate University Work Study Program, motion approving the funding of a financial stipend for a graduate student from the Claremont University Work Study Program from January to December 2022 to assist with programmatic initiatives of the Arts and Culture Commission, and an amount not to exceed $7,000 from the 2021-2022 work plan. As mentioned in the agenda packet, we have worked with the Claremont Graduate University's Student Apprentice Program for the past 2 years. One was Loretto Lopez, and the other was Yasmin Buhafs, who both worked on very essential projects of the Commission. This year, Claremont Graduate University has started their inaugural work study program, which would allow students to work with organizations for a whole year. So basically January to December, and they would be considered administrative assistants supporting the work of the organization. The application process was competitive, and I'm happy to share that the Commission was chosen as one of 5 organizations to do this inaugural work study program. So we're very excited about that. The great thing about the work study program is that, again, we would have this additional support for a year. We would only be responsible for contributing a financial stipend to the program of 1/3 of the overall students' payroll fees. So staff felt that it was a great opportunity to have additional support as we move along with the administrative goals and initiatives of the Commission.
Great. Any questions or comments from, Commissioner Zadorian?
I just had one question. When we've done this in the past, has it been the same amount, or it should have been more? No, I'm just considering the fact that when we started this, it might have been, what, 2-3 years ago, that the price should be going up for how much we pay apprentices. So I would hope that that's the case. If we're still just paying 1/3 and there's a certain amount we just have to meet, then I understand that. But if there is an ability to be paying these students more, I think we should, because life has become more expensive and everything's price has gone up, and so it only makes sense to adjust accordingly.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Zadorian. That's a great point. And in the past, when we've worked with these consultants, I'm sorry, the student apprentice with Claremont Graduate University, it's been for a specific project. So they would only be with us for a month or 2 months maximum. And they were being paid for their consultancy. I believe $1,700 is what we would pay them for their consultancy. This is a different situation where we would have a consistent part-time administrative kind of assistant who would work with us for the full year. So it's a different scope of work, but because it's a work study program, 70% or so is supplemented by the government. So their payroll fees are being paid, and the commission is responsible for contributing a financial stipend of the 30%, which equates to about the $7,000. So to your point, yes, absolutely, we want to make sure that we're competitive and making sure that we're in alignment with paying students an equivalent or an amount that's competitive within the arts field.
Thank you.
One question, going back to the 13,000, is that also 1/3 of what they would be getting, or?
You're muted, Jennifer.
Thank you, Director Schaefer. This motion is for $7,000. So this $7,000 would be contributed to the work study program. So the federal work study program, 70% of it is covered by the government, and the commission would be responsible for contributing about 1/3, which is the 7,000.
So then I would just say, if I might address Chairperson Yank, so overall, the student, it sounds like from a gross standpoint, because taxes obviously have to be taken out, the student would be paid $21,000 for the part-time work they'd be doing for us. So I think it's limited by the federal government has specific amounts of money that they're allowed that they pay. And so I don't think we could pay a student more than what the school or the federal government dictates. But I'd say, it sounds like a pretty good, for a student worker. One, I mean, it's just amazing that, Jennifer has secured this, because this is phenomenal. And as she said, we're only one of 5 organizations. So this is a pilot program through Claremont. But I would say, so I think we're limited to what we can pay the students, but we are paying them. So they're not, oftentimes internships are, hi, you need to do a lot of work for free and for no pay. So they are being paid. And I would say $21,000 annually for a student worker is probably pretty good pay for a student worker. So if that helps at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Schaefer. And to clarify, the student worker is part-time. It's not a full-time position, so it's a maximum of 20 hours a week.
And they'd be with us for how many hours? I'm sorry. Or how many days?
Approximately 20 hours a week, depending on their school schedule, which is flexible, but about 20 hours a week.
Okay. Thank you.
Just a question. Are there any particular things or programs that you envision utilizing the Claremont graduate program for, or is it very, kind of as it comes up, or is there kind of a game plan?
Absolutely. A little bit of both, but to your point, Commissioner Vidor, that's a great question. One of the things that I know the commission has wanted to launch is an arts calendar. So that's something that the Claremont graduate student could potentially work with in regards to launching the calendar and establishing that on our website. I know, as you mentioned, the Wolfpack had also represented interest in an arts calendar for the city as well. So that has been a topic of our project, I should say, that the Claremont student could work on. There's also many, many things that are within my scope of work that the assistant would help with. That as we just approved the Storefront art program, there's lots of things to do with the logistics of that. The Adams Terminal Art gas station. There's tons of there's definitely projects that we would need support on.
I'm sure there are. Thank you.
Right. Any other comments or questions? Yeah, I think this sounds good to me, and congratulations again, Jennifer, for securing this for the commission. So this is fantastic. Can I make a motion on this, or does somebody else have to make a motion?
We have to.
I believe the commissioners have to.
I can go ahead and make the motion. I'm making a motion to approve the funding of a financial stipend for a graduate student from the Claremont University Work Study Program from January to December 2022 to assist with programmatic initiatives of the Arts and Culture Commission in an amount not to exceed $7,000 from the 2021 to 2022 month work plan.
A second.
Thank you. Commissioners Tufenkian,
Yes.
Vidor,
Yes.
Zadorian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Vier,
Yes.
Chairperson Yank.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to the next agenda item 5F, selection and appointment of commission members to artist review and selection committees. Motion appointing 2 commission members to serve a 1-year term on the artist review and selection committee for the Adams Community Park Gas Station and Storefront Art Program, Brand Library Plaza Series and 222 East Concert Series, and Beyond the Box Utility Box Mural Program. For clarification, we did, as we just approved the Storefront Art Program, we did combine that as one committee for the Adams Community Park Gas Station and the Storefront Art Program, simply because those 2 programs are very similar. And whatever commissioners are on that particular committee would have the vision of seeing both programs and how the programmatic slate is for that year. So that's what staff is recommending, to have 2 same commission members on that committee.
So we're going to go through each one and then decide. And I'm assuming this is just 3, right? Because there's one is Adams Square and Storefront, one is Brand Plaza and 222, and then the Beyond the Box is 1. So that's only 3.
Correct. Correct. So we can start with the Adams Community Park Gas Station and Storefront Art Program as the first committee.
I would love to be on that review panel only because I was on it a few years ago and I would love to be on it once more, especially with this new program coming in. I would love to be part of this.
I'd love to do that one as well.
Great. Thank you.
Any questions, or we're good on that? Do we need to vote?
We can move on to the different committees and then see how it shakes out. Ideally, we try to have at least commissioners on 1 or 2 committees. So I can move on to the next one. So the Beyond the Box Utility Box Mural Art Program.
I'd be happy to continue on that.
Thank you.
I'll do that one. I just did the music program, so I have a choice of 2, so I'll take utility box.
Thank you. And then last, we have the 222 East Concert Series and Brand Library Plaza Series.
Well, Chair Yank is not on any so far.
Not on any so far, so I'm happy to do that.
I can also be on it.
Okay, great. So just to recap, we have Adams Square Mini Park Gas Station and Storefront Art Program, Commissioners Zadorian and Tufenkian. Beyond the Box Utility Box Mural Art Program, Commissioners Vier and Vidor. And 222 East Concert Series and Brand Library Plaza Series, Chairperson Yank and Commissioner Zadorian. Okay. Would anyone like to make the motion to move?
I would like to make the motion to approve all those stated by Jennifer.
I'll second.
Is that Commissioner Tufenkian?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, Commissioners Tufenkian?
Yes.
Vidor?
Yes.
Zadorian?
Yes.
Vice Chair Vier?
Yes.
Chairperson Yang?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to discussion items. Agenda item 6A, 2021-2022 work plan progress updates. Starting off with the Art Happens Anywhere program. We are very excited to share that the mural at the YMCA has officially been installed. As of last week, Yoshito Meditating in the Forest was installed last week at the YMCA. Staff is working with YMCA staff to potentially coordinate a mural unveiling or opening reception for this. It's tentatively slated for February 12th, but that's TBD depending on the YMCA schedule. But as soon as we're able to provide solidified details for an opening reception, we'll definitely make sure to let the commission know. And of course, invite you to that as well. Staff is also working with Versatile Dance Company for a one-day in-person event at Verdugo Park on February 26th from 1 to 5 p.m., which is their proposal of their color and dance AHA proposal, which is highlighting BIPOC artists and artists of color in the hip-hop culture and dance. So that would take place on February 26th at 1 p.m. Staff is also working with the Blue Marble Art Collective to launch their exhibit called Impending Storms at Central Library, which is going to take place from March 4th to May 1st, 2022, in conjunction with Reflect Space Earth Day exhibit. The artists are also looking for contributions to the actual exhibit, which is on 6x6 cardstock paper, black and white drawings. And they'll also have paper and color pencils and things like that available on site for the first 2 weeks of the exhibit so that patrons of the library and people who are visiting can contribute their drawings to the exhibit as well. So that'll be available the first 2 weeks of March in conjunction with the exhibit. Staff is also working with the Lernzog Dance and Music Ensemble to re-envision their AHA proposal. Quite similarly to Versatile Dance Company, they're doing a one-day event on April 30th on the Arts of Paseo in conjunction with Armenian Genocide Remembrance Month. And once more details are solidified with that, we'll make sure to keep the commission apprised of that as well. So as of today, 12 out of 17 AHA projects have officially been launched, which we're very excited to share. We're also, 3 projects are in the process of being launched, which we mentioned above, and 2 are still in the process of confirming the details. Those 2 are the project with Kathy Herenda, Ride Like the Wind. We're also confirming the final details in regards to the steel plate foundation and the requirements needed for that. So as soon as that can be launched, we'll make sure to let the commission know. And we're also waiting to hear back details from the Museum of Neon Art regarding their proposal for their drive-through arts festival, which would tentatively take place in June of 2022. So that is the update for the Art Happens Anywhere. And if there are any additional updates, we'll continue to update the commission at the next meeting in February. The next update on the discussion item is LaBasse Projects Rfq. The commission has a special public meeting scheduled for next Friday, January 28th at 1 p.m. to review the artist design concepts for the 2 large landmark locations, which is the ArtSock Gateway and the ArtSock Overhead installations. We have approximately 7 proposals total that the commission will be reviewing. We just received the design concept proposals and are preparing the agenda packet for that meeting. So we are ideally going to send the proposals ahead of time to the commission, ideally by Monday of next week, so that you have ample time to review the design concepts, research the artists and the studios, and then be prepared for that meeting on Friday, January 28th at 1 o'clock. The next update on the discussion item is the Mural Ordinance. Staff has been working with Sarah Odenkirk to develop the draft Mural Ordinance and has been diligently working on the specific verbiage for that ordinance very thoroughly. Our goal is to have an update for the commission in spring of 2022, and we'll continually to keep the commission apprised on the progress of the Mural Ordinance. The next update is for the Aspire Group. The commission held a special public meeting on January 13th to discuss the visioning for the strategic planning of the Cultural Equity and Inclusion Plan. The Aspire Group is in the process of compiling all the visionary elements and comments that the commission has proposed at that meeting, and is going to be drafting a draft Cultural Equity and Inclusion Plan for review by the commission that we will ideally share at the March meeting for the commission's review, and we'll continue to keep the commission apprised on the progress of that plan as well. The last update that we have is we are very excited. We have an opportunity to work with the Public Works Department on a creative crosswalks and intersections mural, asphalt murals request for proposals. to be as an opportunity to make Glendale amplified as an art and culture destination. We're planning to release an RFP in conjunction with the Public Works Department for artists to propose creative crosswalks for specific locations and intersections within the city. Staff is currently working on that RFP and is having it reviewed, specifically the locations and the verbiage based on the pedestrian master plan. And we are hoping to have a review for the RFP at the upcoming February Arts and Culture Commission meeting for your review. That is all of the updates I believe I have for this discussion item.
I have a question. I mean, it's a discussion item. I can ask questions, correct? Just no decisions. I have a question about the creative crosswalks and intersection asphalts murals, because this was something we had discussed years ago that we had been told that it's very pricey, the upkeep. I'm happy it's coming back. Very happy about that. My question is, I've been seeing them popping up around Glendale. I'm trying to understand who is doing that. Is that just like it's not having anything to do with arts and culture at the moment, correct?
It is not. It has been an initiative of the Public Works Department, and they were directed by City Council to utilize funds that were going to be expended before the end of last year, December 2021. Specifically funds that were initially dedicated for Ciclavia, which did not end up happening. But that has been an initiative of a pilot program per se by the Public Works Department. Director Schaefer, is there anything additional to add?
Thanks, Jennifer. Yes, and I would say one of the things is that was opportunity for them to test various paints, how the application would work and whatnot, but it is not considered art by us. It is not considered art by them. And then the funding for, and it is very expensive, you're correct. And so actually the funding for the creative crosswalks will be coming from City Council. So they had approved that through Measure S funds for these additional sidewalks, these additional asphalt art installations. And so we will be doing a check with them. We'll be working with them, but doing a call for artists on those. So anyway.
So you're saying that those are just tests, like runs, and that we can go over them, right? Because they're pretty atrocious.
No comment from me, but I don't know that we can, it isn't that we can go over them or whatnot. That may be something we can do in the future, but for now, that was them testing. You know, the artists will have to be very creative because there's a limited color palette that they can work within. We have to keep in mind that crosswalks are, you know, meant to keep people safe, and so they can't blend in too much. So
mainly because the specific locations that they were at, I'm just wondering, are we going to go to the same locations? And
I don't believe so in this first run.
Okay, thank you. I think Commissioner Vidor has a question.
Is there any indication of what locations they're prioritizing, or?
I think that's a great question, Commissioner Vidor. I believe one of the priorities is the Adams Square location on Adams and Palmer, which is definitely a priority within the next few months. The other locations, I believe, are part of the Broadway Rehabilitation Project, which are 2 intersections that are in the downtown Glendale area.
Thank you.
Can we make a recommendation for another location to be considered? Considering those are both in South Glendale, if we can do one in the Kenneth Village area, because there's a lot of walkers, there's a lot of people visiting.
So I think there may be one in that area, but actually where they're going is in intersections that need improvements. So that's kind of how we're able to do this is the prep work is going to be covered. But Jennifer, is there one in the Kenneth Village area? I can't recall.
I don't think I've seen one there. I go there.
Well, no, not right yet, but it is one of the forthcoming intersections. I think there might be one proposed up north, but I don't know that it's in Kenneth Village. But basically, the intersections are being dictated in the sense that there's a big part of the cost that we've heard before is the prep work, and that prep work has to happen anyway. So that's what's choosing these intersections.
Okay, thank you.
That's a great recommendation. The alignment with Public Works is for their pedestrian master plan, and which has established certain intersections and crosswalks, as Director Schaefer had stated, that need improvements. I believe there are some proposed in the northern Glendale area. I don't believe it's Kenneth Village, but there are some that are still in consideration.
Any other comments or questions about any of these items? Okay. We can move on.
Okay. Agenda
Sorry.
item. Oh,
Yes. On discussion item 6.5, marketing and communications, it said update. Do we update that? Did I miss that?
my apologies. My apologies. That is a typo. I do not have an update other than the fact that my scope of work, as I mentioned, expanded with this new RFP that's on my slate of work. So the next thing literally is to start working on the PR firm RFP. So
Okay.
there is an update, but not an update.
Okay.
Great. Okay.
Okay, I'll move on to the next agenda item, which is agenda item 7, commission staff comments.
Any comments from any commission or staff?
I would like to thank Chair or ex-Chair Tufenkian. It's been a pleasure watching you as Chair. I very much enjoyed it. I'm very happy that you were able to serve. I'm sorry that it was in a year like this where there's not too many events and whatnot. I feel your pain on that one. But I'm very happy to see our new Chair, Suba Yank, and you know, it almost feels like you've been part of the commission since we've been online. I know we knew each other before, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing you as chair and getting back to in-person meetings hopefully sometime soon. So congratulations and thank you for your service to chair ex-chair Tufenkian. And congratulations as well to Vice Chair Vyar. Congratulations.
Thank you. And really, considering that we've been online, I think we've made great strides this year. So thanks to Jennifer.
Yes. Very kudos to Jennifer and the entire team for just the giant steps that we made as an arts community here in 2021, and 2022 looks really exciting. So thank you. Looking forward to it.
And the scope of work that you keep referring to that has expanded. I looked at this work plan progress report, and it's just amazing that you need a few more interns, Jennifer. I think it's good luck with that, and thanks. It's got to be exhausting. Thank you, and Director Schaefer as well.
Likewise, I just want to say thank you so much, you know, to my fellow commissioners. Congratulations to Vice Chair Vyar, and thank you, Commissioner Tufenkian, for everything that you've done this past year. It's really an honor to follow in your footsteps. And I'm very, very excited and proud about what this commission has been able to accomplish, and really looking forward to the work ahead as well.
I know that both of you are very capable and very with lots and lots of experience in that realm. So thank you, and yeah, looking forward to this year. It's going to be a great year. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you. Director Schaefer, do you have any comments, or shall I move on?
No comments.
Agenda item 8, written communications, we have none. So agenda item 9, adjournment.
Jennifer, I think you're muted.
Thank you all.
Agenda item 9, adjournment.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.